fertilizers to the soil, so simple thing is that they will add nutrients to the soil. So when they add nutrients to the soil, so then obviously it is that the fertility of the soil would be increased. So as it is enhancing the fertility of the soil, so we are simply calling them as fertilizers. Now can you able to understand why they are called as fertilizers? So now we are having another thing called biofertilizers. So here in the form of the fertilizers, what we will be doing here means we will be using microorganisms in the form of either solids or in the form of liquids so as to increase the fertility of the soils. That means simply think like, let us assume that there can be some things like, let's say there may be a capsule or there may be some solid materials which would be made into lumps. So these solid materials will generally will be filled with microorganisms, and such material would be added to the soil. Okay, so there it includes microorganisms. So these microorganisms will try to enrich the fertility of the soil by providing essential nutrients to the soil. Essential nutrients will generally include like things like it can be nitrogen, or it can be phosphorus, or it can be potassium. So NPK, they are the most important nutrients that are required to enrich the fertility. Fertility of the soil. Apart from this, there would be other things, but these would be the important things. Okay, so if we talk from the point of fertilizers, so there we can have bacteria. Okay, we can also have algae, or we can also have fungi. So any microorganism which can enhance the fertility of the soil, so can be called as biofertilizers. Okay, so that is in simple manner. Biofertilizers can be bacterial biofertilizers, fungal biofertilizers, or algal biofertilizers, or they can be actinomycetes biofertilizers. That means they can be any microorganism. So if we talk from generally bacteria point of view, bacteria examples can be rhizobium bacteria and azospirillum bacteria, azotobacter, or phosphobacteria. So that means bacteria can also be used in enhancing the fertility of the soil. So examples, so remember some of the examples. And these bacteria you have listened in nitrogen fixation also. So that's what she was also quoting. So nitrogen fixation is one of the process, that thing. So fungals, for fungal biofertilizers, one of the example is mycorrhiza. So what is mycorrhiza? Where did you hear mycorrhiza? The term mycorrhiza. Have you heard about this mycorrhiza? Good. Good. So when we were studying about in environment ecology, biotic interactions, there we have studied about some symbiotic relations. So there we studied that when fungi lives in symbiotic association with the roots or root nodules of the plants, so such kind of fungi is known as mycorrhiza. Myco means fungi, rhiza means roots. Okay, so those fungi which lives in the roots or root nodules of the plants is nothing but mycorrhiza. Okay, it's nothing but it's a type of symbiotic relationship. Okay, so that is one thing. So that will also fix. So then algal biofertilizers, like let's say blue-green algae, cyanobacteria. You might have heard about cyanobacteria. So other name for that is blue-green algae. So that is also another biofertilizer. Okay, actinomycetes, like Frankia is one actinomycetes biofertilizer that we can have. So remember some of the examples. Okay, so UPSC is now moving in depth of the subjects. So we also shall have to learn. Yes. Actinomycetes, it's a type of fungi. It's also a type of fungi. Okay, like mushroom. So like in technical terms, if you see actinomycetes, basidiomycetes, it becomes like mushrooms when you see mushrooms, such things. So when we go for a classification of animals, there you can again recollect. Okay, so these are some things. So remember this statement This is very, very important statement that can be picked directly by the UPSC also. Because look here, what this statement is saying. Biofertilizers are mostly cultured and multiplied in the laboratory. Cultured and multiplied in the laboratory. That means this statement is saying that biofertilizers, not only they are present in the nature, that means in nature also they can be present, as well as they can be cultured and they can be produced in the laboratory also. Okay, so that is one thing. That means, however, blue-green algae and azolla can be mass multiplied. So mass multiplied means like at one scale they can be produced in large scale quantities. So remember, we are with biotechnology, so we can do all these things in laboratory. Okay, so this statement also you just remember. So that is with respect to biofertilizers. Okay, so then in the similar fashion we also can have biopesticides. Okay, biofertilizers, what they will do? Simply biofertilizers will enhance the fertility of the soil. So biopesticides, so what they will do? So name itself it is saying that these are nothing but the microorganisms which will have the ability to kill the pests. Okay, side means killing ability. So those microorganisms which will have the ability to kill the pests, so they are nothing but biopesticides. Okay, so have you gone through the document? So have you checked the examples there? Okay, so there is no specific example, simply like we can have microbial pesticides, we can have biochemical pesticides, or we can also have the, so just you see, like we can have microbial pesticides, microbes, any microbes, or like biochemical pesticides, those pesticides which have been prepared by biochemical processes. Okay, so then plant incorporated protectants. So this is another type of biopesticides that we can have. So simple examples for that, like think about Bacillus thuringiensis. So we have incorporated this Bacillus thuringiensis in cotton or brinjal, so that it became a pesticide variant for the pink bollworm. So it is a kind of biopesticide, because living organism is killing the pest. So likewise, so in the similar fashion, like plants, like they may produce certain toxins, like BT cotton, they may produce certain kind of toxins. So such kind of toxins would be called as plant incorporated protectants, simply. So that is one way or one use of the biopesticides. Okay, so that is one thing. So then we can also use the biotechnology in the process of tissue culturing of tissues. That means growth of the tissues in laboratory. Okay, usually we will have some petri dishes. So in the petri dish, we will try to culture various tissues for various purposes. Okay, so that process is known as tissue culture. That means there would be an artificial medium where we will culture required tissues in the labs. So that process is tissue culture. So that is another application of genetic engineering or biotechnology. So there, transgenic animals. So we have understood transgenic animals means those whose genetic material has been modified by injecting the foreign genetic material. So they are nothing but transgenic animals. So there can be so many examples, like the transgenic mice, transgenic rat, transgenic pigs, transgenic cows, so transgenic buffaloes. So there were so many examples, okay, that we had. Okay, so then if we move on to advantages of biotechnology with respect to the industrial field, so this is another important thing, and there is every scope of asking these new developments in the exam.